everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am talking to you about all of the things that I read, watched, listened to, played in December. And so I will always start with the books in these videos, but I will also talk about some other entertainment media things that I consumed in December. But let's just jump into it with the books. And so the first book that I finished in December was The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams. And so this is the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. I don't know if there's a different name for the series, but it's the second book after Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I read earlier in 2024. And so this one, I was really excited about the setup because the restaurant at the end of the universe is sort of introduced in the end of Hitchhikers, and I was very intrigued by that. And so you do get that, but actually not until a little bit later in the book. This book follows Zaphod Beeblebrox, I think is how you pronounce it. And he is one of the characters that we also met in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he also was my least favorite character in Hitchhikers. So I was not super excited to find out that like he's kind of the focus of most of the book. I would say like the first half. I think I did end up liking him a little bit more as we went, but I wasn't as enthused about that because he's not my favorite character. But it was still really fun. I think all of the same things that I like about Hitchhikers do carry over into this one. The humor, the quirkiness, the dry British humor, the obscure science things and references, and just the things that he explores are really fun. I was really delighted by most of the book. I felt like towards the end I lost momentum a little bit with it. Just something about the pacing and the way that this book ends is a bit of a cliffhanger as well. And so I just felt like it was kind of in a weird spot. I also felt like Hitchhikers ended in a weird spot, so maybe that's sort of a signature of these. I don't know. I guess I'll find out as I continue. But again, I felt like this one had maybe even a less satisfying ending than Hitchhikers did. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would give it probably 4 stars, and I will be continuing because most of the essential things that I really liked about Hitchhikers are in this too. And so I am curious of where the rest of the series is going because it was set up to continue with our main characters. So yeah, this was fun, but I would say I didn't love it as much as I liked Hitchhikers. I think this one I liked a degree less. It just felt like a little bit more of a clumsy narrative, I guess is the best way to put it. But I will still be continuing with this. I really did enjoy it. Also, I don't know if it bears mentioning, but I am like a little bit sick right now, so if I seem sort of less energy than usual, it's also nighttime. So not only am I getting sick, I'm pretty sure, but it's also nighttime, so I'm sorry if I'm not quite my normal self. But the next book that I read is actually a novella, and this was Christmas at Thompson Hall by Anthony Trollope. This is the first thing that I've finished by Anthony Trollope, like ever. I've started things by Trollope, but I've never actually finished anything, and not because I wasn't enjoying what I was reading, but just because I was not in the right like headspace for a Trollope book when I started the ones that I've started. I think I started The Belton Estate, and I also started The Way We Live Now, and for whatever reason, I didn't ever finish them. I think I just maybe was in the middle of other books and wanted to finish those. But Christmas at Thompson Hall was the perfect way for me to really get a little taste test, if you will, of his writing. And this took me completely by surprise. This was so fun and so funny. I was shocked at the humor because I didn't have any inkling of what this was about at all before I read it, and I had no, like, the cover of the book and the title of the story doesn't give you any inclination that there is going to be humor, and there is humor, and I really, really enjoyed what this book did. I don't even really want to tell you much of the plot because I feel like the less you know, the more delightful this is going to be as it unfolds. But I just thought this was such a fun little short story, and I'm totally gonna read more Trollope. Now I'm on the Trollope train, and I want to pick up things by Trollope. So I am looking forward to eventually getting into his body of work. But this was just a great way to enter, and highly recommend for a cozy, very lighthearted, just delightful read around the holidays. I don't even feel like it's super Christmassy, so I don't even feel like you have to read it at Christmas time. You could read it whenever you want, and I think it would be just as delightful. But it was a perfect palate cleanser in between the other fantasy sci-fi books that I'm reading. And that brings me to my next one. Oh, I didn't do a rating. I would give Christmas at Thompson Hall 5 stars. I really, really loved it. I really don't have any criticism on it at all. So yeah, 5 stars. It was delightful from beginning to end. And the next one, actually, so the final thing that I finished in December was Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. And I'm so glad that I've finally read this. It's been sort of hanging over my head for a really long time, because I've read things that reference Warbreaker, but I had never actually read Warbreaker. And so I did spoil myself for some of those references. So I knew what was referenced and how it ties into the Stormlight Archives in some ways, but I guess I didn't have the complete full picture of that. And so now I do, and there's a lot actually, and I feel like there's so much potential for Warbreaker in the Cosmere. He's really set up Warbreaker as sort of a stepping stone, if you will. It's just got really strong ties to the Stormlight Archive in many ways. And yeah, and so I'm so glad I have read this now. And also, just as, Cosmere aside, just as a story in itself, it was really, really well done. Characters that I did get connected to. That's, I feel like, a Brandon Sanderson signature. I don't think they're as fleshed out as ones in Stormlight Archive, understandably, because this is over 600 pages, and the Stormlight Archives each are over 1,000 pages, so a lot more time, to dig into things. Some of my favorite Brandon Sanderson books also have a strong political, religious side, and I feel like that's also why I really liked Warbreaker, is because the politics and the religion really are a central part of this novel. And also the magic system. I know people say they really like the magic system in this. I wasn't totally sold on it until I probably was finished with the book, and I kind of thought more about what this magic system was, and then I appreciated it. But when I was just introduced to this magic system, I was kind of puzzled by it and not super impressed. I think the other problem is that I read a lot of this book on audio, and that's just really hard, I think, to grasp what's happening with Sanderson, because he's so detailed about the mechanics of his magic system. So listening to that on audio was a little bit of a challenge, but I felt like by the end I understood the gist of it. But yeah, I definitely would want to try to read this with my eyes on a second time through, because I did most of this on the audio. So yeah, I really, really, really liked Warbreaker, but I would say it's maybe not, Is it a 5-star? I don't know. At the moment, it's more like a 4.5 stars. I don't think it's 5 stars just because I feel like with Brandon Sanderson, I have just, you know, the bar is set really high. He has set the bar high for himself because the Stormlight Archive books are like all 5 stars to me. So anything that's not the Stormlight Archives, I feel like I'm really critical on, but like this is a really solid fantasy novel. So do recommend, and I'm so glad that I have now completed this book and now I have more Cosmere knowledge. Those are all of the things that I read in December. I'm also gonna mention some things that I watched. So I watched a couple of movies, but like short movies, because it was December and unfortunately I didn't have like a lot of time to sit down and watch a movie. I feel like I watched half of a lot of movies and I don't even want to mention them because I didn't even finish them. But the 2 things that I did finish were short animated films. And so one of those is The Snowman, and this is an older cartoon that's actually based on a children's novel. And I had actually heard the music before. While I was watching it, I was listening to the music and realizing that I was very familiar with the music. And I think either I must have like performed it at some point or played parts of it, or I'm a flutist, by the way, and like in a professional setting. So I think I might have played it, and I definitely have heard it on our local classical music station on the radio. I've definitely heard it there too. And so I was like, oh, I'm like intensely familiar with the soundtrack. And it's funny because I didn't even realize it till I started watching the movie. And this was beautiful. It's a beautiful animated film. I will warn you though, sad. It's not like a happy one. So I was watching it with my 2-year-old and he didn't really like, you know, he doesn't really get the sadness part of things generally. It's subtly sad, but it is sad, and it's more of like a kid's movie that like teaches a life lesson, and in like a very like, I don't know, a very depressing way. It was a beautiful film, but very sad. So yeah, just be aware of that if you watch it. It's not an uplifting one. It has parts that are uplifting, but overall it kind of leaves you with like it leaves you with a bit of a downer. So yeah, anyways, The Snowman, I do recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and the music is gorgeous. Beautiful music. Every year I rewatch A Charlie Brown Christmas because how could you not? It's just a classic that I have to watch every year, and everything from the music to just Charlie Brown and him viewing everything as a problem. And it's just like the most iconic Christmas cartoon. So I watched that. That's all I watched as far as movies. We did watch some TV shows, my husband and I together. We finished The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which we had been working through for a while, and so we finished it. We watched the season finale. I know we're like way late to the game on that show. It finished a long time ago, I think. I'm not sure. I assume because we were streaming it after the fact. But I really liked how this show ended. I was nervous it wasn't gonna stick the landing. It's so hard for, I feel like, a TV show to wrap up a season finale in a satisfying way. I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's not satisfying, and I felt like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel did like a well enough job of that. I felt like this was going to be a hard show to wrap up, and I think it probably was, but I thought they did a good job. I was also a little worried because this is written by the same people who did Gilmore Girls, and I didn't feel like Gilmore Girls had great endings of seasons. This one I thought did a pretty good job. So really enjoyed The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel in the end. I would highly recommend it, with some caveats. It can be kind of raunchy, and like it's about comedians, so it can be sort of inappropriate. So yeah, if you are okay with that, I feel like I really liked the themes that this show explored, and the characters were very endearing, and I had a good time with it. So we finished The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I am also by myself. I'm watching Your Lie in April. I only made a little bit of progress. I only watched one more episode, but I just wanted to mention it because I'm still watching it and I'm still enjoying it. And then we recently started together, my husband and I, the most recent series of Only Murders in the Building. And I've talked about this show on my channel before because I love it so much. And if you haven't watched Only Murders in the Building, please do yourself a favor, go watch it. It's so good. It's one of my favorite currently running shows that I've seen so far. Not that I watch a lot, but this one is so good. It's mostly murder mysteries, but it's this team of like unlikely friends, and it's just got like, there's an endearing quality to it, and but also like the murders are very high stakes and the things that happen are very high stakes, but like the show somehow has like a cozy fun feel also because it's Steve Martin and Martin Short. They actually produce it along with, what's the girl's name? Selena Gomez. I knew her name. So they actually they produce it together, and they also act in it. And so I just feel like the show has so much going for it. It's a very high budget show. It also has a lot of famous like actor cameos in it that are surprising, like really big people. Like Meryl Streep has a big part in the show. And I'm just like, wow, like this show has a big budget. They're always bringing on guest artists, or guest actors and things who are like really big names. So it's just super fun, and the writing it's just really witty. The humor is really witty. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough about Only Murders in the Building. Do yourself a favor, watch that show. Love it. I love it so much. That's all I watched. I wished I had watched more Christmas movies in December, but it didn't happen because December's really busy. So that's okay. Maybe next year. I didn't play a lot of games. I'm still just playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, and I only probably picked it up a couple times. Again, December, very busy. I don't have a lot of sitting down time usually in December because it's just a really busy time at my job, and also just personally, as many of us know, the holidays are crazy. And then I also usually talk about music, but to be honest, I didn't really do much music discovery in December. I primarily just listened to Christmas music. I didn't do really any exploring of like new things that are coming out or like new artists to me. I just mostly listened to Christmas music if I put any music on. I will mention one album that recently came out. I'm obsessed with Lei Fei. That is how I know her name is kind of hard to spell and pronounce, but I believe it's Lei Fei. And she came out with a little holiday EP album, and there's just some delightful songs on there. I love her. She's one of my favorite new discoveries in the past couple years. I'm just obsessed. Everything she does is gold, and I love her musicianship. I love her songwriting. She's very like throwback to old jazz standards, but she also writes new songs with a very old time jazz standard style, and I love her. I love her vibe. I want to be her when I grow up. So yeah, I've been listening to her holiday EP, but mostly would just put on random Christmas music on shuffle. So yeah, I don't feel like I have a ton of things to talk about this month, but those are some of the things that I enjoyed in the month of December. I can't believe it's January 1st today, and we have a whole exciting new year ahead of us. Thank you for watching this video today and making it all the way to the end. If you made it all the way to the end, let's see. If you are not feeling like leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji. Let's leave a microphone emoji for a holiday jazz standard for Leife. Sure, why not? Thank you so much for watching this. I will be posting my best books of 2024 next week. That'll be my next video. So I'm really excited to talk about my favorite books from the past year with you. And so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep reading great books. And until next time, bye-bye.